Hi, welcome to Buchan Stationery, and today we'll be doing a little bit of a different video. We'll not be technically reviewing and unboxing any new pens, but we will be comparing two different pens. And the first one will be the Pilot Vanishing Point, and the second one would be the Platinum Curidas. So these are both retractable fountain pens that kind of differ in prices. While the Curidas does retail for around 120 Canadian, the Pilot Vanishing Point retails for around over 250. So in the video today, we'll kind of be testing out both and just giving my thoughts on these two different pens. So let's get into it. So let's kind of dissect the Pilot Vanishing Point. So right away, you kind of have the clip over here at the front, which is pretty weird, but you know, we'll see how it goes. The whole pen has a matte black finish. And then you open up and let's see what's in the pen. So here you kind of have like the spring-loaded mechanism here with a few balls pretty close here, kind of bearings. I assume they help with the spring. And then over here it'll be coming out. So that's pretty simple, the pen. And I assume you put the ink in through here. So now let's close this up and just take this there. Oh, there we go. There, I think we got it here, and tighten it up. Here we go, and then we just push the top, and here we have the nib. Pretty small, but the nib here is actually an extra fine Pilot nib, and as you know, with the nibs of Japanese pens, they are quite fine. So when this nib is extra fine, so I'd say this would be a quite fine nib and a lot more than what I'm used to reviewing. So I'm excited to test this out. So now let's take a look at the Platinum Curidas, but before we get in there, let's just take a look at the sizes of these two pens. So you can definitely see that the Platinum Curidas is a little bit more bulkier, and it is clear, so you can kind of see the mechanics that go on inside of this pen. It does seem a lot bigger, bulkier, and a bit bigger than most pens I've used, but of course, since it's the plastic casing over here, it's not that heavy, so it's not really problematic. Let's just push it in here. And here you have the full nib. So the nib is actually a little bit more out here than the Pilot, as you can see. But overall, pretty good there. And you see the clear thing here. Another really cool thing is if you actually see right here, and I'm gonna retract this back, you see how it opens and closes there, that little point there. So this just seals the nib and makes sure that the ink doesn't dry out. And actually, it's exactly the same for the Pilot Vanishing Point as well. As you can see there, it kind of goes down, then you push it back in. It'll go back up in between there. So that's pretty cool overall with these two pens. So with the final thoughts on the design, yeah, I'm interested to see what they are. I'm not really used to writing with the clip in the front, so I'm interested to see how that's going to do it, how it's going to affect my writing. And yeah, this is quite bulky, but I do like the design. I love sometimes seeing clear fountain pens, so you just can see the way it is in action. And yeah, overall, this is really nice. For the Pilot is sleek, black. I love the matte black coating, and yeah, pretty excited for that. And one thing I forgot to mention is I will be using a fine nib from Platinum here for the Platinum Curidas. So let's get into the writing. So a little aside on the nibs here. The nib on the Pilot Vanishing Point is 18 karat gold, and it's from Japan. It's the Pilot Extra Fine, so it should be pretty smooth and it should give an extremely fine writing. So I'm excited to try this out and see how it compares to the other gold nibs that I've tried, such as the Parker 51 and of course the Sailor. Now let's take a look at the nib of the Platinum Curidas. And here we go. Now this is a typical stainless steel fine nib that you see from Platinum. Nothing really special here, but of course for the price you can't really expect anything more. So let's go check it out. And yeah, Platinum usually does a good job with their nib, so I'm also excited to see how they do it with this one. As always, for this review, the notebook that I will be using will be the Maruman Nemesine B5 dot grid paper. As you guys can tell, I love my Maruman Nemesine. I use it for everything. The writing feeling is great, very limited skips, no feathering, no bleed through. I really don't see any problems with it. And I can use a wide variety of different inks, whether some are really saturated, even some that are really take a long time to dry. I never have any problems with Maruman. And yeah, I highly recommend it if you're looking for a notebook to go to. Maruman. For this video, I'll be pairing up each pen with my favorite blue ink. So for the Platinum Curidas, I will be pairing it up with the Sailor Manyo ink Sumire. And for the Pilot Vanishing Point, I will be pairing it up with the Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. So now these two inks right here are my favorite blue inks from Pilot and Sailor respectively. In our store, they're basically always sold out because they are quite popular and they give off these amazing blue colors. So while this is more of like a lighter blue, this is more of a deeper blue. So I'm excited for you guys to go see how they look on paper. So let's get started with the the Platinum Curidas. So right away, I'm kind of just struggling, kind of getting a certain grip going because I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do write pretty close here. And as you can see, the clip here is kind of a distraction. So that's automatically like my first thought of the pen. So it's a bit weird writing like it. But yeah, like it's a weird feeling for sure with the clip at the front, but I feel like it's something I can definitely get used to, but it's definitely weird at first for sure. I like the nib. The stainless steel is great. It's quite fine. Like as you guys know, like with most previous pens like Lamy, with previous pens like Lamy, it's pretty fine, and usually especially fine nibs like the Lamy Safari, the Lamy the Studios, they've all got quite bit more thicker, I like to say. So as you can see here, the Pilot Curidas Retractable is quite fine. Now let's kind of take a look more at the Sumire ink. Yeah, it's a beautiful deep blue color. I really like when I first tried this color of the ink, I fell in love with it right away. The Sailor Manyo ink is just stunning. They've done a great job with their inks, and yeah, overall pretty well done. It's quite nice light blue. And while the clip for the Platinum Curidas is weird, I really don't have any problems with the balance. Everything seems great. It's a bit bulkier than I'm used to, but that doesn't really give a problem since it is still quite lightweight. So let's try out the Pilot Vanishing Point. So again, while this clip is quite smaller, so I don't think it'll pose as much as a hindrance to me, but yeah, let's go check it out. So this is extremely fine. This is a lot more fine than I'm used to for sure. But overall, it's not really posing a big issue. An interesting thing I'm knowing is this Konpeki is coming out extremely light. So I'm thinking it's probably the ink might be a little bit watered down. But to be honest, I'm actually loving the color right now for sure. It's a lot, this is kind of giving a more of a lighter electric blue for sure. Yeah, it's definitely watered down. But I honestly do not have an issue with it. This is giving out like a really stunning baby blue. So I'm kind of interested to see how this came out, but overall not an issue. Yeah, the 18 karat nib is extremely smooth. It's kind of interesting actually seeing how it works with the extra fine nib, because a lot of the times is like when you get nibs that are this fine, you kind of expect them to be like really scratchy and precise, but this kind of gives you that mix of like where it's still smooth, but especially for like an extra fine nib, it's really nice. It's kind of like, I kind of feel it not in the same way, but you can kind of draw inferences to the Twisby nibs with the Yovo, because a lot of the times, like especially for the fine, they're a bit more fine than usual, but they're still like a bit quite smooth and still like, no, not Twisby, it's Diplomat. Diplomat is the correct one. Like their pens are like still smooth, but they're quite precise. And I feel like that would be the exact same way, but on a much more finer level. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this overall. The clip did give a bit of a weird feeling for sure.
But I think over time, like, I'll be completely fine and I'll get used to it. It's a bit different than what I'm used to seeing for sure.
So that wraps up our review of the Pilot Vanishing Point and the Platinum Curidas. So overall, my thoughts on these two pens are, they're pretty cool pens. I like the whole retractable aspect of them for sure. A bit different than what I'm used to with the both of them having top clips. Now, which one would I recommend personally? So for the price, I would say if you're kind of looking for a bargain and looking for high quality, I'd highly recommend getting the Platinum Curidas, for like around $120. So it's a pretty good value. The nib is fantastic and the whole retractable thing is pretty cool here. There also is a way that you can take out the clip if that's problematic for you. I'm not gonna attempt to damage this pen, but there is a way, but I'm not gonna try it out. But yeah, that's possible to do. And for the Pilot Vanishing Point, if you really do care about the nib, the 18 karat nib is just great. Pilot does a fantastic job with it, and Pilot does create really high quality pens. So if you are willing to shell out more, this would definitely be worth it as well. So yeah, thanks for watching our review, and until next time, this is Buchan Stationery.